Let's start first and foremost with Mudrick, because poor old Topps, suddenly out by the MLB and no longer going to be bought in terms of its particular coming to market. So talk to us about the demise of the deal.
Yeah, so Topps has announced that it's no longer going through with the blank check merger. It will remain a private company. They had earlier announced that the merger will bring Topps into the public market, as well as raising money. They will be raising money from PIPE investors, institutional investors, to support the deal. But a lot has changed since they announced the deal, and just that a lot of transactions has gotten a bit more difficult. Some have to recut the valuation. We've seen another deal today having to lower the valuation from $5 billion to $3 billion. So it all feeds into the theme that SPAC deals are getting increasingly difficult. It's no longer that quick and easy route that you take instead of an IPO.
Would a SPARC then, a special purpose acquisition rights company, change that?
So there is a lot of uncertainty around SPARC, and most importantly, it's actually not, it hasn't gotten the blessing from regulators just yet. Interestingly, Bill Ackman yesterday in a letter announced that he is kind of just giving up on the SPAC, the Pershing Square Tontine Holdings $4 billion SPAC that he raised earlier, and will be focusing on SPARC, which has yet to get in a regulator's approval. So the SPARC's main difference is that investors don't have to contribute any money until they find a target. So that functions more like just like any regular merger, but instead of finding money from debt, from syndicated debt, investment banks, you're crowdfunding it from the market. So this is an interesting experiment, but it doesn't really fall into any category at the moment. So it will be interesting what the SEC says about it.
Yeah, it doesn't fall into any category. That's the understatement of the day, although I think Marie Kondo actually beat him to that. I am curious, though, about why we sort of ended up at this point here with Ackman. I mean, when he raised that $4 billion, it was a big deal. And given his reputation as an investor, most people thought he was going to be able to secure a big deal. Do we have any sense here as to why he wasn't able to pull that off in the time frame needed to get this done?
So he actually has 11 months left. And the tricky thing about a SPAC is that we write in the newsletter today is that bigger isn't better. A SPAC tends to buy less than 10% of the company. So if you raise a $4 billion SPAC, he's looking at something over $40 billion in valuation, which leaves you a very, very small list. And initially, there was discussion of him being interested in Airbnb, which went public through a regular way IPO. So, like a lot of the companies that fit the size that he's looking at would prefer the regular route. So that really limits his ability to find deals. I guess the mistake that he had made here is just that he aimed too high and he raised the vehicle too big.
He still has some time, though, right, to get this deal done? If the regulators don't say, yes, go for this rights option instead, he does still have some months to go to try and find something to acquire.
Yes, so it's unclear what happens after if the regulator says no to the SPARC vehicle. So he's saying that if the regulator goes ahead with the SPARC, he'll return investors' money in the SPAC, Pershing Square Tontine, compensate investors with the warrant that they were promised.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a messy route, to be honest. At this point, we're all waiting for the SEC green light. If it doesn't happen, Alan will come out and tell us what he's thinking.